15 of Second Chronicles, and we are still talking about Asa, which I don't think we talk much about Asa too much, but as in he doesn't just come out in a lot of literature. We talk a lot about Saul, David, and Solomon, but look at what Asa does. And the things that happens during his life, and maybe it's because really not much happens as well as far as wars and things concerned. So in the Kings, where a lot of it has to do with wars and the things that happen in wars, Asa doesn't shine that way. He shines a different way. And the Spirit of God came unto Azariah, the son of Oded, and he went out to meet Asa and said unto him, Hear ye me, Asa, and all of Israel and Benjamin. The Lord is with you while ye be with him. And if ye seek him, he will be found of you. But if ye forsake him, he will forsake you. The way that I read this is a lot of people go, well, I ask for things, but I don't think I'm worthy of it, so he's forsaking me. And I do think that there's a point where we do need to do our part. And he's saying that you need to do your part. You need to seek him. But as soon as you seek him, he will be found of you. He never leaves people. I've talked to countless people from when I was young to when I was a missionary, and throughout my life, of people who are going through really difficult times, usually caused by themselves. It may be drug addiction, it may be addiction, it might be alcohol, it might be other things that they are suffering with. But as soon as they pray to God, even in these conditions, they feel his Spirit come to him. As soon as they turn to him, in the least degree, he is there for them. But as soon as we forsake him, then he can't but let you forsake him. He'll always be there, and you will see him. But if you forsake him, it will seem that he is not there. He will not force himself to be there for you if you do not want him there. Now for a long season Israel hath been without the true God, and without the teaching priest, and without the law. So he's saying there's been a big time when we haven't had the gospel preached properly. Your father was not preaching it properly, and now how can people turn to God if they don't have that word? But when they in trouble did turn unto the Lord their God, Lord God of Israel, and sought him, he was found of them. That's what I'm talking about, turning around. Even when they feel that everything is lost, that is when they can turn to him even more. And in those times, there was no peace to him that went out, nor to him that came in, but great vexations were upon the inhabitants of the countries. And the nation was destroyed of nation, and city of city, for God vexed them with all adversity. It says, oh, wow, look, there's the vengeful God. Remember, this is people that's turned from him, and he's trying to get them to turn to them. But even when it says God did vex them with all adversities, what he's done is he's left them to their own device. He says, I could help you here, but you don't want my help. Anybody that has older children like myself realize that they do make their own choices, and you'll always be there for them. How far they may go away from you, you'll still be there for them. Be strong, therefore, and let not your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded. When Asa heard these words and the prophecy of Oded the prophet, he took courage and put away the abominable idols out of the land of Judah and Benjamin, and out of the cities which he had taken from Mount Ephraim, and renewed the altar of the Lord that was before the porch of the Lord. He realized that he could do this because the Lord gave him that confidence. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh and out of Simeon, for they fell to him out of Israel in abundance. Notice the word in abundance. When they saw that the Lord God was with him. So they realized that this is kind of going back to Jeroboam, and Jeroboam was going, you don't need to go to Jerusalem. I'll give you all the things you need to worship here. And people that were spiritually attuned went, that's not good enough. We need to go to Jerusalem. What would have happened if Jeroboam would have said, we're going to make an alliance. We're going to stay true. And we will go down to Jerusalem to worship. But we'll do it as a people. I don't know what would have happened, but I like the what ifs sometimes and just think, well, what if that would have happened? Instead, all these people leave in abundance from Israel. So even though we talk about Judah and Benjamin in the lower tribes, there was a mix of people, but they fell under Judah and Benjamin after that point. And the same, anybody that went up to the kingdom of Israel were Israelites, whether they're from Judah and Benjamin or any of the other 10 tribes. Just looking at this thing right here, why did the people of the northern tribes live in the southern kingdom of Judah? Southern kingdom of Judah originally consisted of people mostly of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. However, during King Asa's reign, many people from the northern tribes relocated to Judah when they saw that the Lord was with Asa and his people. Another large-scale immigration took place after Assyria conquered the northern kingdom. As a result, a large population of people from the northern tribes resided in the southern kingdom. The Book of Mormon prophet Lehi, a member of the tribe of Manasseh, had ancestors from northern tribes who at some point moved to the southern kingdom. And that's sometimes where people would come in and say, oh, the Book of Mormon can't be true because why'd they live in Jerusalem if they were Manasseh? Because Manasseh was a northern tribe. Well, right here, you can see it, as plain as day. So they gathered themselves together at Jerusalem in the 3rd month in the 15th year of the reign of Asa. I guess it should be Asa. I've been saying Asa. And they offered unto the Lord at the same time the spoil which they had brought 700 oxen, 7,000 sheep from this war, this really weird war that the Lord fought for them, ended up giving them all this, and they were able to do sacrifices with them to the Lord. Why did the people make a covenant with Lord? Asa's reign followed a period of wickedness and idolatry in the kingdom of Judah. Asa responded to prophetic counsel to remove idols from his kingdom and gathered his people to Jerusalem, where they made a covenant to seek the Lord. This is one of many incidences in which members of the house of Israel renewed the covenant that had been made at Mount Sinai. Of course, this is generations after, and I think these renewals help bring about that change. We renew things every Sunday, so I don't think it's that hard for us to see that connection, at least for me. And they offered unto the Lord the same time of the spoil which they had brought. And they entered into a covenant to seek the Lord God of their fathers with all their heart and with all their souls. I think it's important that it says all their heart and souls. That whosoever would not seek the Lord their God should be put to death. I think that's an interesting thing. I'm not going to dwell on that, except to say that it was a different time and really was one of the death punishments over in most countries today. Well, one, if they have a death punishment or life imprisonment, would be if you are a traitor to your country. And that holds a big thing because we found that traitors to countries can cause a lot of damage and kill a lot of people if they're left unchecked. And I think that's how they are looking on this, is these people are traitors if they do not believe, because that is one of the main elements of their worship and of their kingdom. How it was set up and everything was to be trust in the Lord. In fact, they wouldn't have won the war that they just won if it wasn't for the Lord. And if people want to fight against that, then they must be traitors. That's just one read into this. I'm not saying that's the only way, but trying to put it in perspective that we may have seen in more recent times, and that's how I'd look at it. It's not, oh well, you don't believe what I believe, so you're put to death. It's you're believing in something that's going to get us killed, and we can't have that. That's the way I read it. And they swear unto the Lord with a loud voice, and with shouting, and with trumpets, and with cornets. They really, really went out. A cornets just means horns. And Judah rejoiced at the oath, for they had sworn with all their heart, and sought him with their whole desire, and he was found of them. As soon as they sought him, he was found, and the Lord gave them rest round about. I think the whole thing about this whole story is that they were going to turn to the Lord, and he turned to them immediately. Also concerning Mecca, the mother, and if you look in the notes, it actually is grandmother of Asa the king. He removed her from being queen because she made an idol in a grove, and Asa cut down her idol and stamped it and burned it at the brook of Kidron. But the high places were not taken away out of Israel. Nevertheless, the heart of Asa was perfect in all his days. I think this is really interesting. Now, the thing about the high places, I think I mentioned it before. They continue until Hezekiah and Josiah, right down to the end, almost. They don't get rid of the high places. However, notice Asa's heart was perfect in all his days. He was upright. And he brought into the house of God the things of the Father. By the way, the thing about his grandmother, why would they bring that up? Because it shows that it wasn't just the poor people or the lower people. It was anybody, including even the queen, would be subject to the things that he put in place. And he brought into the house of God the things of his father had dedicated, and he himself dedicated silver and gold and vessels. And there was no more war unto the 35th year of the reign of Asa. So basically 35 years of no war, pretty much peace. What an amazing time. And sometimes we don't see that in the Bible because there's so many other things to look at. And we'll see what happens to Judah next time.